Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, RMP team and invited guests and everyone out there. My name is Lucito Ayuso, a community liaison manager who worked for the Belize Audubon Society for the past 15 years, retired now from the Belize Audubon Society. I am grateful and very appreciative that RMP has invited me to do this sort of thing, this interview, as a matter of fact, to share some of my knowledge, my experiences in the conservation area, especially in MPAs, marine protected areas.
Well, thank you so much, Lucito, for being here with us today. And thank you for sharing all those years of experience in the conservation area and for giving us a few tips for those 15 years working with the Belize Audubon Society. So, our topic or theme for today is to educate the population about good sustainable seafood consumption. So, our first question would be, how can consumers make informed choices to support sustainable seafood consumption?
Sure. I would like to start this afternoon by stating that a fisherman will always be a fisherman, and that is his bread and butter, the sea, the marine products, which he depends on for his livelihoods. Hence, the reason that we need to provide informed choices for sustainable consumption of seafood. So, one of the things that I would like to talk to you about this afternoon is that for fish to remain sustainable for the next 10, 15, 20 years, and for our children and our children's children to enjoy, it is important that as a fisher folk and any other consumer out there, we need to fish and buy the fast-growing seafood, those that reproduce very fast. For instance, the mahi-mahi. We would not like to encourage the slow-growing fish like the grouper, because those take time to get to their weight, to their sizes, and that takes over time. For instance, here in Belize, we have seasons for fishing the grouper, and that is one way that fisher folks promote sustainability for that fish resource. So it is very important for fishers to understand, and I know that a fisher, like I told you, is a fisher and will never stop being a fisher because they know what is happening in their fishing environment. They know that sea by the palm of their hands, and they know which fish grows slow, which fish is a fast growing fish, which fish reproduces fast and grows fast. Another fish that we would like to encourage fisher to consume is the invasive lionfish, because we know that the lionfish is doing more, I think, more harm than good to the other marine resources. In that is a heavy feeder, a fast feeder. So lionfish are the ones probably who sometimes downsizes or degrades the reproduction or the spawning aggregation. They are the ones who, eat the smaller fish tremendously. They have a very good appetite for the smaller fish, and those are the ones that we would like to encourage fishers to fish and encourage restaurateurs to buy the fillet of that fish. Because, and I know it is happening here in Belize, I think there's some restaurateurs that buy the fillet lionfish from fisher folks. So they could easily go to the restaurateur and sell their produce to the restaurateurs or shops that buy that fish species. Even the markets, I noticed that they buy that here in Belize. One that I would like to discourage also for fishers to consume is the ecologically importance of parrotfish, and that includes the angelfish and other grazers, which are very important to the sea. The grazers, like the parrotfish, what I know, what fisher folks have spoken about is that they clean the reef, right? They make the reef more healthy for the habitat to remain so healthy, so that there exists more fish where they fish or they fish for those resources. So that is one of the things that I would like to discourage fisher folks to do. I mean, to fish the ecologically important parrotfish, and its many species that exist out there at sea. On another note, it is important that fishers understand and respect and be aware of the closed seasons for certain fish species and respect them as much as they can. We do not, as as managers, as marine managers out at sea, we do not have the enough personnel to curb the illegal activities that is going on out there. And I mean fishing, overfishing. I mean fishing illegal sizes of fish. I mean night fishing. I mean transboundary fishing. Those are the things that we would like fishers to come out from the bottom of their heart and to try to desist from these types of behaviors. And this will make them much more sustainable in terms of consumption of the legal sizes. I'm talking about the legal sizes of of, of fish. Okay. Another thing, I would encourage fishers and consumers out there to, and that includes the market vendors, the shopkeepers, the hoteliers, the restaurateurs, to buy the legal sizes of fish products. And the legal sizes means the weight and the length. We got certain fishes. For instance, here in Belize, the lobster and the conch are two main fish products that are being exported from Belize. And that is the livelihoods of fisher folks throughout the length and breadth of Belize. And we have standardized fish tail lengths, conch weight, and tail weight, and all of these weights and sizes is very important for fishers to fish and respect the rules and the laws and the policies set by the government. Okay. And one other thing I would like to mention concerning this question, it is important that stakeholders, and that includes fishers, that includes all stakeholders, tour operators, tour guides, even visitors, to patronize the conservation work that NGOs are doing. For instance, us here, that is what we try to do. We do it through school presentations, we do it through exchange visits, we do it through visits to the protected area. So, and this is how we garner the support from the members or from the different stakeholders in communities or in the larger community not only from the protected area, but the larger area of the community to be engaged in understanding the conservation work of the protected area. So these are some of the things that will help consumers to make informed choices um, for seafood, sustainable seafood consumption, if I answer that question right. Okay.
Yes, you did. Very informative. And I must say, it is refreshing and at the same time saddening to know that Roatan and Belize were in the same boat. You have the same challenges. You also have the same exit stories. To know that you've been doing good works, you've been educating the population. The government has also been involved in setting regulations, but to know that there has been these challenges, and this is why it's so important to have these types of activities to hear, what you guys have learned along the way, how you could implement it in Belize, in your country, and also see what we can learn from all this talk and what we can implement in Rotan. So you've talked about consumers, being informed, but how can fishermen and women have a higher responsibility? What role could they play, to help keep the fish and the ocean healthy?
Believe me, it's not easy. It's not easy. It's not easy when you have maybe hundreds or thousands of fisher folks depending on the resources of an MPA in a small protected area that you guys work with. It's not easy. And we have to work with different type of fishers. We have the seasoned fisher, we have the senior fisherman, we have the young fisher folk, we have women, and we have those that are just entering the industry. I don't know how you guys do it. If it's true a licensing form that you engage fishers or to be fisher folks in your area, but here we do have what you have licensed fisher folks, right? Licensed fisher folks, and they have to get their license every year. Every year they have to apply for their license as a fisher folk, and they pay a small, I think, not a large fee, but I think it's very, very reasonable for the fisher folk, right? I can't recall how much they pay for their fishing license. Another license that they have to have is the boat license. The fishing boat has to be registered and licensed also. Okay, so um that is it. But I want to go back with the young fisher folk because those are the ones whom we have to monitor more closely. The young fisher folk, they come, I believe, with no kind of sustainable best practices when it comes to entering the fishing industry. So I think that all they want to do is to just rip and scrape. They go for the legal or non-legal sizes or whatever they could get. They want to do a fast catch, come back, go to the community, spend their monies, and then go back again. I don't know if they have any type of financial sustainability also along with consumer sustainability and so on. No? So it is a challenge. It is a challenge for us in different protected areas or who work in different marine areas. We have to deal with different types of fisher folks. But sometimes we feel that the young folks is only a handful. And if we, as managers, try to target them and engage them and garner their support to engage in our work, engage in alternative livelihoods, start to teaching them or do like a little apprenticeship program with them. For instance, teaching them the fishing regs, how the process of getting their licensing, probably showing them around the protected area so that they have respect the boundaries of the protected area, no night fishing allowed. I mean, all of these things might help the young fishermen and even those who are just entering the fishing industry, right? So this is one way that we could keep our oceans healthy. Do a little capacity building, or like I say, apprenticeship program for those entering the industry. That would have been I believe that's a good tactic for us MPAs to try and see if it works. And if it doesn't work, then we go for plan B, right? And plan B simply means we need to launch like a little campaign. We have what you call a boat to boat, right? Where we meet the fisher folks one-on-one in their fishing vessels. And this campaign is to educate them, promote awareness of regulations, fisheries regulations, promote awareness of anything that is impacting their livelihood out there as it relates to the fishing industry. It could be the invasive lionfish. It could be impacts of climate change. It could be diseases that are affecting the coral, which is the habitat of the fish. So this is plan B. Always do some coaching, some mentoring, some capacity building somewhere or the other. It doesn't have to be through the boat to boat, but maybe we could launch the campaign right in the communities there. Maybe on a Sunday afternoon, no? Do a little campaign about fisheries regulations, and you could give a little snack or a little coke or something like that so that they can come out and listen to your work. And that is one way we could engage them and let them more understand what is our work and the reason behind our work to maintain oceans healthy, the biodiversity, and their livelihoods, which is the most important thing, right? Okay. So it's awareness about the different things happening. If you did a bust, if you arrested someone because he has so much illegal parrot fish in his boat, right away you launch a campaign and start to educate people and promote awareness about the importance of grazers to the reef head. So these are some of the things that we can do to help fishers to be more aware and let them keep their fish resources, their livelihoods healthy for the next generation. That was with question 2.
Okay, thank you for the response. It is very true, and I must speak, being part of this newer generation, that we do like things to be faster, to be quicker. And when it comes to fishing and fish growth, seafood sizes, it doesn't work that way. So I must ask you, Lucito, if you have 5 minutes, how would you convince these newer fisher folks or fisher folk in general, the economic benefits that they can get when fishing in a more sustainable way, like the benefits that can come to them as well as their communities?
Yes. And as I was talking to you about regulations, sometimes the fisher folk or community stakeholders don't want to hear that. They think that we are always imposing rules and regulations over them. But if they would only understand the benefits behind it. I can remember 12 years ago, I mean in 2012, sorry, before we had these initiatives, micro loans, the boat-to-boat strategies, the local advisory committee for more engagement of communities. All we had were community meetings, and these community meetings were only attended by women and children. They are the ones who enjoy the snacks and the drinks while we are promoting our awareness campaigns and so on about fisheries regs and so on, right? But that is not all. So all these other initiatives that we launched after 2012, as I told you about, made a big change around, right? In that fisher folks learned to understand the impacts that they can do to the fishery products if they do not follow the regulations. So we had to do it in a soft core way to let them know, not arresting them because they have a legal product, but we
Mhm.
have to promote awareness, awareness, and awareness. And we had to meet them in their fishing grounds. That's what the boat does. That's what the community sharing nights does. That's what the exchange visits that we do with fisher folks does, right? In that they get they promote awareness that if they fish sustainable, if they do best practices in sustainable fishing, it means more money in their pocket. Once they fish the policies, they go by the policies for of fishery products and sell their products to the cooperatives or to private individuals or to hoteliers, restaurateurs, and so on. It means more money in their pockets because they get their value for the product that they are fishing. On the other hand, the restaurateurs are helping them to let them fish the right size of fish products. So we encourage restaurateurs to buy the legal sizes of fish products when you're buying the products. It means if you follow the rule, you will get more money for your product. Another thing, if you fish the legal sizes of fish throughout the season, it means that fishing will remain sustainable for the years to come, the generations that will come. Your children, as I mentioned before, your children's and children will enjoy these fish resources if you do the right thing of fishing, of practicing so best practices in the fishing industry, right? So these are some of the things that fishers need to understand, and we as managers also need to promote that awareness. It's a two-way street. They need to do the right thing, and we help them to do the right thing. As we engage them, as we promote our work, not only with fisher folks, but to the larger society that will include all those who buy the fish products. It's important for everybody to be in the same page. We cannot work in isolation. One more thing I would like to add there. During close seasons, I don't know if you guys have close seasons of the products where fisher folks are engaged in fishing, but it is important that, as I told you, a fisherman doesn't want to hear about, please respect the laws of fishing, please respect regulations, we want you to do the right thing, and so on. Some fishermen will always ask, what else do you have to give us? And that's where the idea of alternative livelihoods come in. Income diversification, supplemental incomes, right? That will help fisher folks to improve their livelihoods, especially when seasons are closed. They have something to do when the fishery product seasons are closed. So this is another good thing that, or a best practice that as MPA managers, we can engage fishers in alternative livelihoods to reduce pressures in the protected area, especially when the seasons are closed, because they will be tempted to fish all year round, open or closed season, if they don't have anything else to do at home or to engage in any other livelihood activity back home. And not only them, but even their families and the youth members and so on, right? And their children.
Okay. Yes, it's definitely giving them an alternative to do, because you just can't say, no, don't do that. It's offering other possibilities to them. Could you give us a few examples of alternatives that BAS has used in the past, or some that they could use moving forward, or things that we can also be able to do here, Roatan?
Yes, I can remember working with a women's group in one of our communities. I think that was in 2016 through a GCFI a project, no? We had an initiative called microcredit. So we did what we did a program entitled microgrants loan. So we offer, I think it was a 5,000 Belize dollars to this women's group who are made about who are comprised of about 7 women in northern Belize. And one of the things that they engage with is doing jewelry out of lionfish, the byproducts of the lionfish, the fins and I think the tail and all these things, no, the beautiful part of the lionfish. These guys are working today and have improved their livelihood tremendously. They are helping their husbands to reduce pressures in the protected area. So today, these women still exist. It's a very, very active lionfish women's group. And I think that they have opened up, I think another organization helped them to get the market for their products in the USC. So till today, these women's group are very active. And anytime they hear a fair happening in Belize, they are present in these fairs to sell their lionfish jewelry. This includes necklaces, earrings, and other jewelry that women like, that women like, no? Yeah.
Yes,
So this is one example.
that's
Coming out right from what maybe the fisher folks can sell those fins, and maybe you could sell something like that, and engage the services of the fisherman after they fillet their land fish. They could, give it to a group to start doing something like that at RMP. I don't know if that is something that has already been started there or none at all, but it's a possibility. It's a potential.
Yeah, I love that idea. It sounds wonderful in the way that nothing goes to waste. Because a lot of time people would just want the fish to be fillet. What would you do with the skin? So it's to know that it's being transformed and also creating income for a group of women. So it is something that could be implemented, and it's something that we would really take into consideration to do here. And now to take away a little bit of the weight off of the fishers, the people, the fisher folks, the fisher women, the fisher men. Let's talk about the consumer, either being a local person or in our case on Roatan, we receive thousands of visitors. So let's talk about them a little bit. How can these individuals support sustainable fishing practices? And when it comes to seafood consumption, but at the same time supporting local NGOs in the MPA?
Yes. Okay. Nice question. Um, I have this thing that we call here in Belize fish right, eat right. And that simply boils down to following the fishing regs when you buy when you buy fish to consume, no? Um, it simply means that we need to encourage people to buy to when I mean people, I mean the persons who buy the product. They need to buy the the right product, as the terminology says. Fish right. I mean, fish right, eat right. And one of the things that we could encourage to do, how we can encourage the larger society to do so, is to I've never seen that happen here in Belize. But I saw that happen in neighboring Mexico, in Cozumel, Mexico, where I saw the restaurateurs. What they do is they buy the lobster. I saw it with lobster. They have like a pool or like a drum where they put the live lobsters in that drum. So when visitors come to that restaurant, and I mean the legal size of the lobster are in that drum, right? When the restaurant, when the visitor comes, there is a hook stick with a line fish. So the visitor will fish the lobster that he would like, and that is what they will cook for him so that he could have wine and dine with that lobster, right? So I think this is a very, very good strategy, I would say, or tactic that we as MPAs could encourage members of the larger society to do these kinds of things, right? To support sustainable fishing practices and seafood consumption. So we as managers would need to patronize people who does or who would be willing to do these kinds of things and maybe pilot it. Maybe you could pilot it with maybe one or two restaurateurs or maybe one or two members in during market day. Let them have their little drum of fish or whatever, so that people could fish their own fish that they want to take home and eat their fried fish, right, with their nice rice and beans or and so on and so on. So I think this is one way that it's a two-way street again, where consumers or stakeholders corroborate with the NGO to do things like this. Believe me, it's not an easy. It's not easy. It would take a lot of your time. It is costly, right? So why costly? Because maybe you would to pilot something like this, you need a little bit of funding, right? You need funding. Plus, you will need to monitor this to see if it works, it doesn't work, and maybe you could replicate it to be a larger project if it does work in your area. So I think that goes with that question. If I answer that question right there, how can individuals or local consumers support sustainable fishing practices?
Yes, that's a nice answer. You're giving us a lot of ideas of things that we can implement here on Roatan. And I also coming up for the last questions that I have for you, Lucito,
Yes.
is to flip the script a little bit. And because we've just been talking about what can we teach fisher folks. So let's turn around and ask ourselves as NGOs, what can we learn from the fisher folks? Because I know that they have a lot of ancestral knowledge, a lot of traditional knowledge when it comes to fishing. They know about the sea, they know about their territory. What can we learn from the community as well as fisher folks? Things that can be integrated into our conservation efforts.
Yes, that is right. And I respect fisher folks who are in the industry for 15 plus years, like me, in the conservation world. I give them my big respect for them because they do bring a lot on the table. They do, in fact, if you could get one of those guys on board beside you, beside your NGO, to work along with you, and maybe to be one of your mentors to other fisher folks, I would pat yourself on your shoulder if you could really get one of those guys beside you, because I've done that, but it takes a while to gain them, right? To gain a person like that to be on your side to support your conservation work. I will have to give you a lot of guidance how to do it, but it's not impossible. You could gain them on your side, right? And they will be the ones to be your mentors to other fisher folks and to other local communities. But definitely, one of the ways that that ancestral knowledge or traditional knowledge helps in doing your conservation work is to always listen to what they have to say about the resource, about the about what is happening out there at sea. They know those fishing grounds by the palm of their hands. They know what is happening to the habitat. They know when sometimes they get confused with this coral bleaching and the and how you call it the when the corals start to when there is strong wind underneath and the corals makes a big it gets very foggy underneath. They know when those strong breezes are coming. They know what cold fronts do to the fishery products. In fact, fishermen always tell me that when there is cold front, and they are always listening to their radio. Believe me, they are always listening to their radio. Um, when cold fronts come, they will not waste a penny to go out at sea because they have to travel here in Belize. They have to travel over 90 miles to reach to their fishing grounds for a period of 8 to 10 days. So when a cold front is coming, they completely will not go out to fish for that period of that cold front that is extending, right? And sometimes the cold front catches them with their pants down, sometimes out there, because it comes in suddenly within that period of 8 to 10 days, right? Especially during the months between October up to December and up to March. Last 2 years, I think we had a cold front up to March. And then when I asked them, how is the season out there? Why, it's still bad. A lot of cold front coming in from January up to March. We did not expect that, right? So it is hurting their pocket. So it is very important for us to 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 hear from them and to whenever we do our data or do our research out there in regard to fisheries product, it is very important to assess what they have to say and what your science has to say, so that you could make a better, how can I say, a better decision in managing fish resources out there, or also in conducting your research out there, because those same issues, those same climatic conditions, those same things that are happening out there can also impact the way you do your science, right? Because you might not have a reliable data to inform fisher folks about the fishery products within the protected area. Because most of your science is, I believe, it's done within the protected area. But we also do it here, what we have the general use zone, and we have the no-take zone. The no-take zone is within the protected area, and the general use zone is where fisher folks could go and fish, right? So those impacts, those things that ancestral knowledge has to give us, we need to listen to them so that we could make informed decisions in 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 in, in conducting our research and bringing that information back to them to see if it corroborates or not with them, right? Again, it's also important that those same knowledge that these guys have to offer concerning impacts that are affecting their livelihoods out there, that same knowledge, we hope that you listen, because when they will not only give you the impacts, they will not tell you what is harming them, what is impacting them, but they will also kind of give you some solutions, some recommendations to improve the management of the protected area. And we hope that NGOs are willing to take these recommendations, these solutions, to improve the overall management of the protected area. So all these traditional knowledge that these guys have to do, sometime or the other, they will tell you some recommendations so that you can make better decisions in the management of your protected area. And we do this at Belize Audubon. We do not do it only through community meetings, but we do it through the boat-to-boat strategy, through the local advisory committees where we have fishermen representation. So all these local knowledge come from experience. All these, like the local advisory committee is made out of experienced fisher folks, those that are seasoned, those that have worked in the fishing industry for about 15 plus years, and they better understand what is happening out there and help us to get how can I say, recommendations for us to better manage the protected area where we work. If that answers your question.
Yes, it does. Well, those are all the questions that Rota Marine Park has for you today, Lucito. We are very thankful for your time and also your dedication. You've left Bass a few years ago now, but you still continue to promote and create awareness when it comes to conservation and environmental education. So a big thank you again for your time and for sharing all this knowledge with us.
Thank you too. If I had more time, we can do a second interview after this, right?
We will be doing a second interview. Well,
Okay, sure.
thank you so much. I am gonna end the recording now.
Thank you too. Thank you too, Becky. Did you manage to take